Welcome back to Tech Briefs. I'm Jamie. Big shocker! Out of consumer robotics, iRobot, the maker of the Roomba, has filed for Chapter 11 and agreed to be acquired by its China-based contract manufacturer, Robotics. They say day-to-day services will keep running, but shareholders are likely wiped out.
And I'm Alex. Yeah, Jamie, 35 years after Roomba started changing how we think about floor care, the company is going private through this restructuring. Already held a big loan and will step in to take control under the restructuring plan.
Quick question for you. If I'm a Roomba owner worried my vacuum will suddenly stop working or my mapping data disappears, how real is that risk?
Short answer, low in the near term. The company and press reports are clear that app functions, cloud services, warranty support, and consumables channels are expected to continue during Chapter 11. A prepackaged restructuring like this is designed to let operations run while the court process moves forward. That's it. Long-term outcomes depend on the new owner's strategy and whether they keep supporting older devices.
So the tech stays on for now, but could this mean a step change in product direction, say less investment in cloud features or updates?
Absolutely. When a company moves from a public to a private owner, priorities can shift toward cutting costs and improving margins. Picolea is a manufacturer and lender. They could emphasize supply efficiency, cheaper hardware, or tighter integration with their manufacturing platforms. Features that require ongoing cloud expense or R&D may be deprioritized. For consumers, that could mean fewer big software updates or a stronger push to proprietary consumables and hardware sales.
And a bit of context, how did iRobot get here?
Multiple pressures, intense competition from lower-cost rivals, higher input costs and tariffs, and even the collapse of a planned Amazon acquisition last year. Those factors squeezed profitability and left iRobot carrying debt. The combination of market pressures and finance led to this restructuring as an exit strategy.
Tone check. This is bad news for public markets and shareholders, but maybe not an immediate disaster for owners. Any less thought for Roomba users?
Keep your device updated, back up any maps if the app offers export, and stock up on consumables from third-party sellers if you're worried. Watch for communications from iRobot and Picolea. They'll set the timeline.
All right, let's move on before my old Roomba starts staging a rebellion. Hopefully not a robotic uprising today.
Next up, Ford announced a sweeping cutback of its all-electric plans, including ending production of the all-electric F-150 Lightning and taking around a $19.5 billion charge. They're pivoting toward hybrids, extended-range electrics, and a new battery storage business.
It's a dramatic repositioning. Ford is redeploying capital into what it calls higher return opportunities, adding hybrids and ERV-type trucks, which use a gas generator to extend range, and launching a battery storage arm. The company says some large BEV programs are being scrapped or delayed.
That $19.5 billion number is huge. From a product and industry perspective, how should we read this? Failure of EVs or course correction?
It's more of a course correction. The BEV market has been uneven. Demand for large, expensive electric trucks hasn't met projections, and regulatory shifts plus high component costs have changed the economics. Ford's leadership is prioritizing profitability over market share growth in loss-making models. The write-down reflects sunk investments in platforms and facilities tailored to BEVs that now have diminished value.
For customers who bought or ordered Lightnings, what should they expect?
Ford says it will keep the Lightning name alive in a plug-in hybrid or extended range design, but current BEV production is ending this year. Owners should expect continued support for built vehicles, but the future lineup will shift. The larger implication, automakers may pivot to more flexible architectures that serve gas, hybrid, and electric variants to reduce risk.
So not the death of electrification, but a pragmatism check. Cheaper to hedge with hybrids and energy storage.
Exactly. Think of it as the industry finding a middle path while battery supply, demand, and regulations settle into a new equilibrium.
Onward, let's talk about who's building the brains for government tech.
The White House launched a 2-year U.S. tech force to recruit about 1,000 technologists across federal agencies, with pay reportedly between $130,000 and $195,000 and partnerships with big tech firms. Sounds like a government job with fast-track perks.
It is ambitious. The plan pairs agencies with private sector partners.
The likes of Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and NVIDIA are named to modernize systems and accelerate AI in finance projects. The program also creates a recruitment pathway back to the private sector, which is both a selling point and a potential revolving door concern.
So is this a real modernization push or a temporary bandage that sends folks back to big tech in 2 years?
Both. It will inject modern skills into agencies quickly, which is sorely needed, but short-term hiring risks losing institutional knowledge unless there is a plan for retention or knowledge transfer. The recruitment pipeline to private companies may attract top talent, so the government needs clear project ownership, documentation standards, and incentives to keep people or embedded capabilities that endure.
Any red flags from a governance perspective?
Transparency and conflict of interest management are key. When private firms are partners and rehiring pipelines exist, you need robust ethics rules and clear boundaries to avoid undue influence. Also, agencies must ensure open source and interoperable solutions so the government isn't locked into vendor-specific stacks.
Good points. Now, shifting from recruitment to orbital safety, because apparently space is getting rowdier than a Black Friday sale.
Final story, SpaceX says a Chinese launch deployed satellites that passed within about 200 meters of a Starlink satellite at 560 kilometers altitude. No collision, but it's a reminder. Low Earth orbit is crowded and coordination is getting urgent.
Right. SpaceX's Starlink engineering team flagged that no ephemeris or coordination seem to have been shared for the new craft, which increases collision risk. Even a tiny collision can create debris that cascades and threatens many other satellites.
From a technical standpoint, how do we reduce these near misses? Is it diplomacy, better tech, or regulation?
All three. Technically, routine ephemeris sharing and automated deconfliction tools would help. Operationally, real-time data exchange and agreed norms between operators are essential. Diplomatic channels and international standards would encourage compliance. Finally, regulation can step in where voluntary measures fail, though regulation in space operations is complex geopolitically.
Is there a reliable way for operators to share data without exposing sensitive details about satellites?
Yes. Ephemeris data can be shared in standardized formats that give precise orbital tracks without disclosing payload details. There are also trusted data repositories and agreements to protect commercially or militarily sensitive information while enabling collision avoidance.
So practical steps exist, but adoption and trust are the bottlenecks.
Exactly. The NearMiss is a wake-up call. With thousands more satellites planned, the industry needs faster adoption of coordination protocols and potentially stronger international norms.
That wraps our rundown. Thanks for keeping it sharp, Alex.
Thanks, Jamie. If you enjoyed this, tip your engineers and hug your Roomba. Gently. See you next time.
Quick bonus segment. President Trump's executive order aiming to preempt state AI laws in favor of a minimally burdensome national standard sparked mixed reactions from CEOs and state leaders. Some CEOs welcomed less patchwork regulation, but others are uneasy.
Governors like Florida's Ron DeSantis and California's Gavin Newsom pushed back, arguing states still have a role to play in addressing local risks. The debate highlights a core tension. A single national standard avoids compliance fragmentation, but state-level rules can act faster and tailor protections to citizens.
From the tech perspective, is a federal standard better for innovation or safety?
It depends on the design. A well-crafted federal baseline that sets safety, transparency, and accountability requirements could provide certainty for developers while allowing states to add targeted protections. But if the federal approach is too weak, it could preempt stronger state safeguards and leave gaps in safety and civil rights protections.
So the trick is getting the balance right.
Exactly. And as with all policy debates in tech, the devil is in the details. Enforcement, definitions of high-risk systems, and how we measure harms.
That really is where the policy rubber meets the algorithm. Okay, that's our show for today. Thanks for listening.
The preceding audio summary was created at jesterengine.com, where you can find and verify the original sources.